Okay, I'm back. Well, that was a little technical difficulty. There's some static in the air. Second I touched my webcam to kind of adjust the position a little bit, bam, static hit it. Boom, knocked out my whole computer. I had to reboot. That's not fun. Okay, well, I'm back and here we go again. So what we're working on today is we are connecting WordPress with WooCommerce to WalkTheWeb so that you can host a 3D site that is a 3D store and they can talk back and forth. So we're working on the permissions part of that, which happens to be with the WooCommerce key and a number of other pieces. But here we go once again. Okay, so off we go. Basically, when I click save, what are we doing? We are doing this function here and save host. I'm going to think about how we want to do this one. Here's the deal. If I do it through JavaScript, we run into a problem because JavaScript will say cross-browser platform and it won't let us do a JSON call out to the other server that is on another server. It'll block it, and especially if it doesn't know it's coming. And so we'll end up with a little bit of trouble from that side. So what I actually need to do is we need to do a curl call from PHP so that we can get there. So, yeah, so we're getting it all back in place. But, yeah, welcome aboard and thanks for joining me. And let's see. So, what we're doing is we're tying the different pieces together. I've already written a plugin called WalkTheWeb under WordPress where you can create a 3D site in less than 5 minutes and you get it up and running, and it always runs on 3d.walktheweb.com. What I'm doing is I'm creating a new version of the plugin for WalkTheWeb that's going to be an updated version, and this one's not only going to allow you to do that, but you're also going to be able to host it on your own instance of WalkTheWeb, because about a month ago, a little over a month ago, I released WalkTheWeb open source, so now anybody can host their own site. So this is just kind of like a natural progression. We're making this site over here actually work in conjunction with this site so that we can call out, connect the two together, give it the proper credentials so that they can speak back and forth. So, okay, let's get going here. We have save host. Save host is in my functions. Let me get, okay, hello. Find that and, oh, I'm in the wrong folder. That's not the right site. Let's get to the right place. And this one's going to be under this site here, plugins and WalkTheWeb. Okay, now we're in the right place. There we go. It's a good sign. We found the function. And so far the function, what we're doing is we're checking to see if it already exists. If it doesn't, we insert it into the table. That just means we're not going to have duplicates. That's a good sign. And once it inserts it into the table, this is what we get on this side. Yeah, so we get this, and see, we're not telling it WooCommerce in secret. We need to look up those values back here and tell it what to do. So let's do another query to the database, and what we're looking for is we're going to be looking in the, let's see, where is it here? We're going to be looking at the WooCommerce tables because they, oops, wrong site. We're on this one right now, set as default. And what we have is this. Under this, we have WooCommerce, and there's a keys, that's webhooks, API keys. In this table, we have each one of the ones we set up, and basically there are different consumer keys and the consumer secrets. And we picked it by name from the description because we broadcast that as a list and we use that to select which key we want to use. So now when we submit it, I need to look at this and basically get the two pieces that we're using and set them into, do I need to? No, I don't. We can always connect to those. Then if they change the keys, it'll already be the new key. That makes more sense. So what did I save here? I saved the Woo key ID is 19. Oh, that's the WalkTheWeb's key. Sorry, I read it wrong. Okay, Woo key is 19, which means I already know that I'm using this key, and I don't have to pull those values or anything from here because I can always do a join on the tables and get them. So I'm not restoring anything just in case they change. I don't want to work with I don't want to update their stuff. I don't want to pull different values. So yeah, so that takes care of that. Then that assigns which one I'm going to use. And now what I need to do is, we're not going to do what I was thinking there. The next piece is we need to do some type of curl statement and tell it to go over to the other server and provide this WooCommerce key to it, knowing that when it gets there, it's going to need to, it's going to have to store it and know that it can use that key to access this site. So we're going to do, well, here I was about to do it, and I'm going to do it anyway. We're going to need this here, Woo key. I know it makes it sound like Star Wars. Wookiee, Woo key, Z Woo secret equals blank. And the other part is the Woo key is stored. It's stored in base 64 encoding, and the secret currently isn't. So we're going to store them both in base 64 and then send them over to the other server. So let's do a couple pieces here. First thing is let's select everything from prefix, and name of the table is WooCommerce API keys, where the Woo key ID, I think let's see make sure we call it the same thing they do, key ID, where key underscore ID equals, and is it a number or let me double check, alter table. I want to see, it is an integer, so we don't put any tick marks around it, but we do need equals. We're going to give it the value here, and it is going to be this. And limit 1, so we're only bringing back one row. And if it comes back correct, then we are going to get the consumer key. Oops, sorry, that's an underscore. And call that Woo key, Z Woo key. It's closest to a foreign language I can speak. Speak a lot of programming languages. Okay, and Woo secret is key and secret. And I'm going to do base, I think it's base 64. How does that go? I always do this every single time. It's encode base 64, I think is what the command is. We're going to find out. Encode base 64. I think that's what it's going to be. Let's just find out. Find in files. I know I've used it before. Nope. Blah, 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 blah. That's probably the correct command. It's probably just not used in this site yet. Let me go over here. Just looking at what we have. I think it would be under functions. Fine. And it is, oh, base 64, decode and encode. Okay, had it backwards. That's the reason I was checking. Knew it was something like that. So base 64, encode. The other one is already encoded, so the key is already that way, and now we have both those values. The next thing we want to do is we need to make something that we can connect to on the other side so that we can come back in here and connect up the two sides. Okay. Okay, thank you. Let's see, jumping over there. Let me change. I've got this open in multiple screens just so that I can jump back and forth easy without having to worry about them. Where's all this? Okay. Wow, that changed my background on that. Huh, I just went to multi-user for the first time with my different screens here. Before I was just using one and sharing it. Don't know why this all went to white in the background here, but notice how it's not there. So, but okay, refreshed. I guess we got it now. Okay, that was kind of weird. On this side, we need to create a connecting file that lets it connect. Is that the one we want? Do I already use this? What am I doing from here? No, that is not the same thing we're doing. Okay, we're going to take... Copy that, and here I'm going to paste it just so that we have the framework of this thing, and then I'm going to save it as WTW shopping. WooCommerce, just so that it has some significance to the naming. So shopping, WooCommerce. And then what we'll do on this is we're going to expect a couple things. The first one is the host name we don't have to worry about because if it hit the server, we called the right host. So I'm not going to worry about that piece, but I want the Woo key, and we'll just call that Woo key, and it'll be blank if it doesn't come through. I do not. I'm going to want to decode that, but I'm not going to want to decode that when I do it just now. So I'm going to actually do it in 2 steps, even though I normally wouldn't do this in 2 steps. But for now, because I'm going to be spitting it back out on the screen, I don't want to show the recording what key I'm actually working with. So I'm going to actually take it and make it the base 64 after the fact. Scramble that. Actually, we don't need to. We don't need to decode it. I just need to write it to the table at this point in time. That makes secret. And I know that a savvy programmer can take base 64 and encode that and decode it and know what it is. But I'm going to make you work for it if you're trying to steal that. And don't worry, anything that I use during these, they're all sample sites, they're all sample code, and it really doesn't make a difference because I'm not, that's not a hot site, there's no credit card information, there's nothing running on that site. It's a sample of WooCommerce store, so you're getting access to a dummy plugin where you can see exactly what you can get if you download it from WooCommerce yourself. So it's all test data. So I'm not too worried about if you get access to a test data site. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so moving on from here, what we have is I'm getting the WooCommerce. And then what I want to do for now is, okay, we're connecting, we're allowing domain name. See, that's the trick. This particular file needs to connect domain name. This one needs asterisk, which means everything can connect to this file. And then the response from here is going to be 3D store. That's actually it's host. It'll be 3D host. And I'm going to look up in here. Well, you know what? I'm going to do it this way. I want this domain name right here to, is it domain URL? Yes, I think it's domain URL. Let me think of what I'm doing here. This part here, I need to check the domain URL, and well, of course it's not empty. I don't even need to test that. We're going to take that part off, and if, well, I could check see if the WooCommerce key or secret are blank, because if they're blank, we're not going to test anything anyway. We're going to check the validation when you call this, and if you are adding it, then it's going to add it. So we're doing a couple pieces here. You know what we do need to send is, we're going to have one more piece. We're going to have it read in the Woo store URL. That way we already know which Woo store we're getting. And okay, so then this is going to be based on if, oops, not empty, and is set, then do this function. And this function is going to be basically, we're going to look up the 3D host, and that's going to be here, and we're going to send it back JSON encoded if you get the host. But what we're going to check is if the key is correct, and first if the host exists, and then we're going to validate the key, and then we're going to reply back either that yes, we're good, it's approved, we're connected, or we're not, based on that. If the key is wrong, then we do not want to update it. I know I'm thinking here. I need to validate where it's coming from and make sure that nobody else can interfere with that if I want to update it. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I know. This is a slippery slope, because what I don't want is a bunch of people automatically just saying, hey, request, and bombarding your server and loading up this particular table with all these different things. And I know that's like a fine line of when that could happen if we're not careful. So it would be better if, yeah, it'd be better if I can detect where it's coming from. Yeah, I'm going to need to research that piece of it. So I'm going to make the rest of this check it and validate that it's there or not. And we're going to do a couple things on this for the test and get it going. But there's going to be some security, additional security we'll add to this piece after the fact, because I don't want anybody to hit it and just bombard it or anything like that. We could check the IP address that it comes from, but there's IP spoofers. Yeah, I don't want to think too much out loud. I might give you ideas. Okay, so this WooCommerce store, we're going to check and see if we're going to be checking in this table up here, and we're going to be checking this. Here's our columns. And I think I already had that open. Yeah, I did. I don't need to open it twice. Okay. Okay, we're getting a lot of information on this side of things, but what I'm worried about right now is getting the key and the secret over here, and we may pass more values if we know them on the other side, including the store URL, store cart, the product, and the WooCommerce. From their setup on that side, we should be able to detect what those items are and then come back and see on this side, input the whole thing, including the store name, really. We should be able to get the whole thing. And when we get it here, okay, so what I'm going to be looking for is basically the store URL, where the store URL, I just want to get something across here and detect and see if it's there. I'm not going to even look to see if it's deleted, because if you deleted it, then I'm not going to let somebody else come in there and say, you know, request it over and over again and stuff. So we're going to have a little bit of security about that. Well, we may have to say block or not, but we'll see. Okay. And that is WTW, which is the shopping prefix, and stores. So shopping is part of this shopping prefix. That's that correct table. And once we've done this and we check the store URL compared to that, then the other part is I want to make this always, if it's not empty, this equals, what is it, string lower, is it lowercase? Oh, heck. Is it too lowercase? I know. And PHP. Let's see what we get. Replacing lowercase. Lowercase, that's probably all it is. String to lower, that's what I'm looking for. String to lower, and we drop that in lowercase. Then we always compare everything in lowercase. I don't need the capital letters here. Just want to avoid same name being there, but mixed case on some of them. So we drop them all in lowercase, we compare and get one record back. If there's results, then what we can do is we can compare and see if it's the same key or if key has been updated, and then we can do some things. If it's not found, we can tell it to update. So the first thing we're going to do is, well, we'll do two different things here. First one is we're going to compare and see. I just want to know if it's working, if it's connected, if it's not. So here we're going to do if from the results of the results set, which is going to be WooCommerce key. If WooCommerce key equals this, then we'll just say it's valid. We'll know that the key is found. Let's figure out what we're going to put in the results set. Equals 0, just so we have some type of thing detecting if the key is found. I'm going to get a confirmation. Basically, all I want back right now is a confirmation that yes, it's there, yes, it works, and you can use it or not. So that's going to be the results that I'm expecting to do at this point in time. We're going to return an array, but it's going to be based on. I'm not expecting more than one record. I'm only going to have one record per site, because you can only run WooCommerce once per instance per site that you run it on. That way, yeah, so it'd have to be a different site for it to find a second record. And then here we're going to figure out what we want to return. In this case, so far what we have is we're going to return the store that they asked for. We're going to only return a couple things. We're not getting crazy with what we're returning at this point. We'll add more to it in a few minutes. And then I'm going to say if the key is found, and we'll go that far, and then we'll add more to it afterwards. I'm not even testing the secret part, if it's valid or not yet. We could test that too. Yeah, we could do that too, but let's just go this far and see if it's actually there. Then the other part is if it didn't find anything, which is going to be if blah 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 blah. Basically, if the results here, which is an array returned by our app, so if count of this equals 0, then we know it didn't return any results, and it means that wasn't found. So if it was found or wasn't found, I'm going to do an insert at this point in time. We'll add some more security to it later on, but that ought to get us at least started. Hey, AgeMonkey, thank you for following, and Cookie42, I appreciate it. And I want to let you know, for following me, what you're going to get is we're working with this different stuff. We're doing 3D stores. I put out WalkTheWeb out there open source so you can host your own 3D websites. It's built on Babylon, so basically you can use any Babylon code in your sites. I'm extending it out so that everybody can create 3D sites and components for sites and just drop them into place. Well, this particular thing I'm working on today is for 3D stores and stuff, but it actually works for games and all kinds of cool stuff. Yesterday I was working on a mini golf game, which I'll continue to work on back and forth with some of this other stuff. But just so you know, because you follow me, one of the benefits you get is basically if you ever need anything, my early adopters that take on the code and try different things with it and stuff like this, if you all of a sudden say, hey, for my plugin to work that I'm building, I need this thing in the core, or my plugin doesn't work, I'm having trouble with this piece, and you need some help from me, I'm going to set you as a higher priority than anybody else, and I'm going to take care of you. So thanks for following, and I really do appreciate it. Okay, so this part, we did not find that, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a new record just so that we have this particular piece in place. That way we can have something that we basically see that somebody's tried to approve something, and we'll be able to, say yes or no from them and whatever. So in this particular case, I want to double check. I want to see if it had an auto increment. No, it doesn't. So I'm setting the store ID. Oh, it's a varchar 16. Okay. So what I have is, first of all, store ID equals, and I have it under this connect process. I have a function already written that lets me create IDs on the fly. Get random, if I can type int string, and it's a types, it's 16 characters, and it's a type 1. Type 1 is alphanumeric, so that gets on there. And now that will create the store ID, and we already have the store URL, and we know that it's sending over a key and a secret. So let's check that. We're going to add in some validation, and we're going to add in some extra security so that people just don't bombard us from someplace. I'm going to make sure it's actually coming from the source that is requesting access, so that one source can only request it, and basically it'll always request from the same place. So we're gonna add in some security there. But in the meantime, what I'm going to do is in this table right here, we're going to insert into this table starting with store ID, and that store URL. We're going to skip a bunch of these right now. We'll come back to them later. But WooCommerce key and WooCommerce secret. That will take care of those values. And we have some of these values here. So let's get this store ID. Store ID. Next one is the Woo key, store URL, which is this one. And we have some validation we'll be adding to these two. I've already written some functions that scrub the data, make sure that it's not doing SQL injection and all kinds of cool stuff like that. And if you're curious about my background, I used to be the webmaster for the county of San Bernardino for over a decade. And so I have it's a pretty large county in the United States. If you're coming from other countries, it basically is the largest county in the United States by square footage. It's not the largest county by people, but the largest county by square footage. So basically, yeah, we had some pretty good traffic on the web servers, and I learned to do everything I do from there. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm telling this here, and basically I have two different values coming in. When it hits this, it's going to write it to the table, and for the moment, since I don't have any validation in place, I can actually test this code right here on the server with a couple of fake values. So that's what we're going to do. Yeah, see, I've already used these, and I've already thumbs up on the Stack Overflow. I support Stack Overflow. I also, give credit to where it's due whenever I look up something and somebody gives me an answer. As you can tell, I got a little bit of a reputation, so I've given other people answers. If you haven't done that, Stack Overflow is a great place to get answers to any type of coding questions. They do other things besides coding, but I use it a lot for coding. Okay, so what was I doing? HTTPS:// the 3D site is where I'm hitting, and I'm connecting with this, and then I have a couple different variables. One of them is Woo store URL, which I'll throw in there. Woo store URL equals, and I'm purposely going to fake a bad one just because I already have this one in there and I want it to show up. Test.com, and then Woo key, and Woo key is going to be a dummy value, so I'm just going to give it some characters. It's phony, it's not going to work, and I'm okay with that at the moment. Woo secret equals, and I'm just making sure that we get something in there. And when I hit enter, what it should do is, it didn't do it. Okay, that's why I was testing it. Let me see. We're going to make sure that it gets that far through the code. One of the things is this. If I look in WalkTheWeb stores, oh, it did add it. Okay, so it did add it. And it put in those dummy variables that I put, which is a good sign. It put in my test name of my site, which we'll fill in more. We'll fill in more, values here as we go. But what I want to do now is, it should have replied back with. It should reply back with JSON, which the JSON itself should have been. Oh, I put an I in it. There's my mistake. We have basically only one record that I'm expecting to do back. And since I took the There we go. Once we set I equals 0, now we'll get that back. And notice if I try to do the same code again, now we're getting it. It knows that's the store URL, and it found the key in the database. That's what we're expecting to get if we try to connect from the other server, and it double checks our key. Okay, so far what it is I'm using Babylon. Here's the deal. I use Babylon only because it seems to have a lot more, it's easier for brand new people that have never done anything in gaming and stuff to actually get started. And so basically I wrote it over Babylon. But it would not take a huge amount to convert WalkTheWeb to work for Unity. And the reason I say that is because I wrote it with a degree of separation. If you look from the open source, one of the things, I don't know why the background on that's white. Let me fix it there. When I wrote this code, one of the things is I came in, I created certain places like the core where it fires up what it has. Then I have cameras, which define how you get your camera views to your scenes. And engines all in one directory. I don't even change anything about the engine. We just call it and use it. And then what I have is, for example, molds, which are your meshes. And I have a definition for each one. I store certain information about what you're trying to create on the screen, and then I tell it using Babylon commands what it does to create it. If you were to take certain places like this, the camera file, the core file, and I'm sure there's going to be a handful of others, but it can be isolated and used. It could actually use my code with other gaming engines. That will probably be, for me to work on it, it's a little futuristic of where I'm at right now, but it's not unheard of and it's not something we couldn't do. But the whole idea is that if we all use the same standard, then if we create a plugin for it, it would work on every server no matter what you did. But if we switch gaming engines underneath it, then of course you can't just make a plugin one size fits all and then throw it in there and then switch it, have one server running one game engine and the other server running another. That would get kind of dangerous for the people trying to write plugins. Okay, so just to let you know, we could do a second version using Unity or something like that, 3JS. There's all kinds of things we could do with the gaming engine behind it. But at this time, something gaming. They've been good to me, and I've built it on Babylon. Like I said, it just has a lot of support for new people, but it is WebGL. So the thing about it is, since WebGL is behind this, Babylon is another layer. Then we have WalkTheWeb, which is basically a bunch of loaders and an interface for working with Babylon. And it's an interface for attaching plugins into it, so you can have different things loaded on your server, but also it has a special loader type of functionality to it. For example, I'm just going to give you a quick overview here, and then I'll get back to what I was doing. What I did was you've seen WordPress. I think everybody in the programming world has seen and used WordPress. WordPress creates traditional websites. And what this does is WalkTheWeb, I took the concept of WordPress and I designed it so that you can create communities, which are your scenes. You can create buildings, which are areas within the scene, and it doesn't have to be a physical building. Like in this case, it's a hole for a golf game. And then you can have 3D things, which are like different items that you drop into your buildings or your communities. For example, let's say you need a chair, or you need an avatar, you need a vehicle, or some type of thing that you're going to work with. Well, each time you do those kind of stuff, what happens is I simplified it so that you can create one of those three things out of your code, and I wrap them in those type of objects. So if I create, for example, this game right here, what I did was, if you walk far enough away, what happens is it disappears. And as you walk closer to it, it reappears. Now what I'm doing is I'm actually using what I call loading zones, and you can turn them on so you can see them in the interface just by clicking the button for zones down here. And as you can see, it's a rectangular cube, and notice there's some bigger ones outside of this. So what happens is, when you walk inside of this invisible cube, which is normally invisible, the item, it goes out on the internet to wherever that particular building, thing, or community is. It gets the information it needs, it brings it back, and then it renders it. So now we can take a scene that's on one server, and we can actually load a building that's hosted on a different server on the internet. So if I create a 3D store or I create a game, well, it's not just who plays the game by coming to your website, but you can actually distribute it just by making it a plugin. People can put it and drop it onto their websites. Not just plugins, just by having it as a building. People can actually put it into their scenes. So like this miniature golf game, somebody can say, hey, I want that miniature golf game on my scene. Boom, they just drop it in. Well, the thing is, Google Analytics wise and stuff, I still track whoever plays my game, and I still have the host of where it's running from on my server, but an instance of it where it's using it is on their in their site. So it's kind of a way to interconnect different pieces and make them work all on your sites. So when it comes to 3D stores, which is what I'm working on today, what happens is your 3D store, you build up this store and you have all these cool displays and you can interact with it with your avatars and all this other stuff. Well, what happens is you can take that 3D store and now you can drop it into multiple scenes. So let's say I build a t-shirt shop for a business. Well, they can take that same t-shirt shop and we can drop it into 50 different scenes out there of different games. And now it's a way that, hey, we don't have to use banner ads or anything else. The businesses are actually in the scenes. They're in the games. Just like kind of like real life. You walk down the street, you see a store. If you decide to go in, if you like the window decorations or whatever they do, you might walk inside that store and check it out. Same thing happens here. So, partially about your question is, yes, it has WebGL, and we extend everything that's there is available. We're doing it through JavaScript, but you can write a plugin that extends out anything you want at any way and then use it. So we're very open. That's why I went open source with the host, is because I wanted everybody to be able to download a copy. You can do what you want with it. You can check it out. You can change it up, do whatever. You just have to document your changes, So, we're using the GNU version 3, which automatically allows you to use the Babylon, which is working under, Apache release. So that's kind of the layers of the licensing. No big deal. I'm kind of rambling now. But as you can see, basically what happens is you can create these different items. We can also create plugins, just like you do WordPress, and you can activate the plugin, and then all of a sudden from your server, you have that functionality. If it's adding functionality to being able to manually drop things into scenes and create your own scenes using tools. It could be a tool. It could be an actual load up that you get certain buildings just by loading in that plugin. You can have certain scenes available by loading a plugin. There's all kinds of cool stuff that's in there. Notice also we have multiplayer, so we already have designed an environment that takes care of up to 10 different avatars and multiplayer settings. So you can, anybody else that comes in the scene, you automatically see them. It's ambitious, and that's another reason why I went open source, is because if I keep coding it by myself, it's going to take, decades to get it perfected. But at the same time, I threw it out there so that if others have suggestions, if you have code additions that you want to do, if you want to work on it with me, hey, I'm welcoming quite a few people right now, and we're all jumping in and doing different pieces of it. As it takes off and my business takes off, who knows? I'm going to be looking for people that work for me too. So right now, it's just I'm coding away and getting it out there and, making it available to everybody. So I think you've heard me ramble long enough. Going back in here, what I'm dealing with right now is we're connecting 3D stores. And notice that the one that I just clicked on from there, we get the store here just so that we get the URL. And then if I click edit it here, now I have the option to add some more values to it, and we can tie it up and give it access. So from this side, what we'll do is it'll be a confirmation of what we're doing back to the other side, so that from the WordPress side, we basically are going to click and say, hey, here's the host that I want to request access, to. Type in which WooCommerce key you want it to use, and when you click save, it's going to send over that request, which does exactly what I just did here. which puts it on the list, and then it'll show up and it's going to be saying, hey, yes, do you wish to accept or not? We're going to have some type of, confirm or, and allow access or not. And then when that happens, boom, now it's a attached host and you can use it from that site. So that's the way we're connecting them up. And back to it. So from here, we were able to call a code that told it what to do. And we're able to even confirm on what comes back that that particular host is in the table and the key is valid. There's a legitimate key, or the same key is attached to it. So now what I want to do is I want to take this particular call and I want to call it from when you save this here and you're doing an update, I want it to confirm the connection so that we know we're valid and that it's been confirmed. So to do that, we're reversing the direction on this stuff. Yeah. Just so that in writing we have an answer to your question. I know I rambled a bit on it, but hey, Abdul Coder, how you doing? Welcome back. Good to see you. And let's see, but it uses good. Uses JS. Okay. Also, you know what? I want to make you guys VIPs here for coming in here and being some of my early adopters and asking questions. They're good questions, good comments. I want to get both of you guys here in. And Cookie, welcome aboard. And you guys are VIPs. Yes, there we go. Good deal. Yeah, so we're moving right along, building some different things. Cool deal. Okay, so what we have from here is we did that. Now what I need to do is, because we are adding it and it wasn't already confirmed that it was there, this is kind of where I want it to do the call. Or do I need to do the call anyway? Oh wait, that's checking to see if it exists already in our own database, and it adds it if it doesn't. So from here, we're going to do a call to the other server. I've done a few of these where I do the... Oh, cool. Ask your question. No worries. We can definitely do that. Bouncing around between a couple different sites here. Let's see. I've already done the curl calls a couple times, and I want to do the same syntax that I did the first time. So if you'll pardon this, I'm going to go find it here. Let me think of how I want to do this. I think I do the call from... Actually, I do it from my WordPress site. Okay, finding files. And here it is. Oh, that one was a track page view. We can do it for other reasons, but... That's not necessarily what I want to do it with. Okay, here we go. We have F open also, but that's file open. Okay. We're going to do something like this and see what we get back. That's reading the file. Yeah, okay, it's enough different. Simple way to make a game. Okay, what I highly recommend is starting at Babylon and doing 101. Get used to the coding engine, and then you're going to actually be able to just drop code from there right into the here. I promise you, within a week, it's on my list to do with next week sometime. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add something. What it is this. Whenever you go to Babylon, and if you scroll down to the bottom, there's tutorials on how to do things. Any one of these tutorials, they all have examples. Let me just go to a basic one first. In between here, it takes you to the playground, and it shows you how to create different things. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it up so that if you build something in the playground, for example, this box right here, all you have to do, including your lights, because we're Babylon, we can use anything from here. You won't need the camera and the scene because I already created those, but if you were to take anything from here, copy that, and then paste it into my program, I'm going to set it up so that you can add a playground code right to your scene and make it something. So if you build something using Babylon, like create boxes or whatever you need to do, whatever code you create, I'm going to set it up so that it automatically builds the items that you can just drop the code in there and actually use them in the scenes. I thought that'd be a great addition for being able to manually just come in here at any time and add different stuff. Right now, what I have is, what about without using code at all? Okay, here's a quick lesson for you. If you create a building and you can, okay, that's a very good question. Let me show you. Since everybody here's, we've got some new people and everything else, let me spend a couple minutes. You need to see this. This is actually pretty cool. I'm going to close the current 3D project, kind of like from scratch. Okay, so when you go into admin, so you come to the website. In fact, let me even show you. When you go to the website, and you can go to this website, you can use my server for that. Well, actually, you'd have to go to 3d.walktheweb.com right now. I do have quite a few changes, and I'm gonna be updating that website to this one as soon as I finish this this part about the shopping piece, because I have people that I'm hosting the site for that I don't have. I got to get that shopping piece in place for them before I can switch over to the new code. But if you go to 3d.walktheweb.com, this is kind of my test area and stuff. But one of the things you can do is you can actually create a login, and then you can go in there and you can make things. The only problem is the menu is going to be a little different until I upgrade it. Otherwise, you can run your own code. Just thinking ahead here. You know what? Do you have a domain name? Anybody that's on right now, do you guys have domain names? If you have a domain name, I'll set you up a site on my server. How's that for a deal? You get a domain name, or if you have one already, then I'll set you up a 3D site with your domain name using my open source code on my server. So anybody's interested in that, make sure you follow me. Make sure you ask right now. Let me know your domain names. I'm going to make that an open deal right now. I want some people using my code. I want you to try things. I want you to build things. I want you to help me connect things. I want you to do what you want. And if you need a place to host it, if you're following me and if you're one of my friends, which I friend everybody that follows me on these early stages, I will give you a free hosting of your website, and you can use the open source version. I can load it up for you, or you can load it, whatever, and we'll get you going on a site. All you need is to have a domain name for yourself so that you can do your own domain name and you can control it, but you can get a domain name pretty cheap. In fact, if you go to GoDaddy, you can get one for usually like $5 for the first year. Cheap, and then it's like $15 a year to update the domain name. But we'll go through it together, and I'll teach you how to do it. We'll set up your sites, and we'll run through the whole thing. I tell you what, let's do this starting Monday. On Monday, when I get connected back to you, 10 a.m. Monday at right here on the channel, 10 a.m. Monday. I'll put an announcement out there, but 10 a.m. on Monday, I'm going to walk you through setting up a site, and whoever's there, including you guys, anybody that wants a free 3D website hosted for them, then all you have to do is get your domain name. Like blah blah.com, whatever you're going to get. Get your domain name. You can go to GoDaddy. You can go to GoDaddy, search for a name. If it's some names are expensive, but there's a lot of names you can get that are actually going to be pretty cheap. But hey, shout out to me, give me your domain names, and I'll start setting up the sites for you. I'll put them on my server. I'll give you a MySQL database on the back end of it so that you have something to work with. And we'll get a bunch of you going, and you can all use the stuff. But yeah, make sure you're one of my friends. Make sure you send me your domain name that you want it set up under. And when I see you in the chat with the domain name, I'll mark down those domain names, and basically I'll set you up a site, and you can start building 3D sites from there. You can build plugins against it. I'll give you FTP access to it so that you can update code. You can actually just send it to the server and test your code with your plugin. Hey, here's my offer. Here's my offer. So offering free sites to my friends and followers, 3D websites using WalkTheWeb. And basically, I host them on. I have my own servers, as you've seen while I'm working on this stuff. I have my own servers, and basically what we have is it's hosted on AWS, so Amazon's Web Services. I have my own servers. I'll set you up a site if you just let me know what domain name you want. Now, if you have a domain name already and you're using it for without something on the front, or if you're using it with www dot whatever it is, then basically this would be that same domain name with 3D dot instead of www. So you can still use an existing domain name without affecting any site that you already have, and you can basically do that. Now, anybody that does this, like I said, I'm offering you a free site right now, but here's the other part is if you have something you need to make something work, if you need something adjusted on the engine part, if you can make a suggestion to me, I'm putting you the highest priority on making it work. That's my call. So basically, if you need something and you want it to, let's say you're working on something and you're working on a plugin to build a car, and you want the avatar to be able to drive it, but the avatar doesn't do XYZ. Whatever it is, you tell me what it is. I'll focus on that to make sure that you can get your plugin out there and make it work. So that's the deal. That's what I'm working on. And basically, like I said, just tell me your domain names and I will set up a site with you, and, we'll connect. We'll private chat it. I'll set it up for you. You'll have your own site with FTP access. And then my next stage is we're going to make sure that any one of us can, if we host something on one site, that we can drop that building or that game or whatever into another site. So I'm going to be connecting these dots in the next couple weeks. That's my plan. That's what I'm working on. So like I said, I'll give you a free site at this point in time for the first, let's say for the first 20 people. Well, actually, the number of followers and friends that I have currently right now. If you haven't friended me, you can follow and friend me now. I'm going to, at some point, I'll cut that off. But let's get it started. And I'm looking for a certain number of people that want to help test the code, want to write some things to it, and the whole bit. So like I said, I'm offering something for free. You just basically have to say you need it and tell me your domain name, because I'm not buying you a domain name, obviously, but otherwise we'll get it up and going. And yeah, okay, so that's my offer. Okay. And like I said, my friends and followers, anybody that's watching that wants to use the domain name, get a free site, just tell me your domain name that you want to set it up with. It'll be 3D dot and then whatever domain name you pick. I'll set up the site for you on my servers with MySQL in the background and FTP access. and you'll have it up and running. And then you can write whatever you want with your plugins. Okay, so that's my option. That's what I'm letting you do right now, and we're going from there. We'll see what we can do. Okay, with that said, let's jump forward here. Let's keep on going. Okay, for now, let's see where I'm at. You know what? Been going for a little bit here. I'm going to refill my glass because I just hit the bottom of it, and I will be back. Give me 5 minutes. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and here we are once again. And okay, so moving on from here, what we're doing is working on getting some pieces in place. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, so we're about ready to do a curl call for returning JSON, but I need to double check how to do a good call on that one from, yeah, let's see. PHP call JSON and call JSON from PHP, and here we go. Like I thought. Oh, see, this is the part that I was missing. I need to know the HTTP header type is going to be JSON, and data string, okay. But see, their data string, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. Data string, JSON encode. Why would you know the content length? That doesn't make sense. Why would I know the content length before I actually called it? They're creating it and then using it, which doesn't make a lot of sense. Result equals that, close that, echo result. That gets the JSON back and allows it to do it. Oh, they're adding the, oh, I see what they did. They used the username password in the header that calls it. That does make, okay. Okay, well, that isn't such a bad idea. Result equals curl execute that, and then from the result we should be able to do something with it. We're gonna test this out and see if we can't get this part to work. Yeah, we're on the right track with this. So here we will first of all, username, password. I'm not going to be passing that at this time, so we don't need that as part of our header. We are going to expect the content to be JSON. So I'm going to take that piece out for now. And that's fine. There we go. And the call we're going to make is, we already tested it with this line. I'm going to test the same thing just because I want it to, I basically want to see it go there and back. I want to say that find it already there kind of thing. If it does it, we're going to, that's going to be the call we're going to make. Okay, and results are that. I'm not going to echo the results. I'm going to, well, do we want to echo the results? No, this is happening in an iframe. It won't matter to us. Results are very small, but what I can do is I can echo the results back to the I can echo the results back to the console log. That way we're getting something in here. And what I'm going to do is console log. And that'll tell us if we made it this far. The thing about it is we need to, oops. Make sure I get my formatting all correct here. The result is going to have single hash marks, so I need to, what is it? Escape. Add slashes to this. That should allow it to dump it to the console log if it receives that. And basically, I just want to know that it got that far, made the round trip, and then we'll go from there. So from here, if I refresh this page, and in this box, I'm going to, oh, it's not going to have that. It's going to be a different key. Well, we should get that. It's invalid then. Well, actually, it'll come back valid because we hard-coded what it's testing here. So that is actually something different than what this other piece is. So let's go in here, and this will be 3D.net, and I'm going to set it to use that one. Click Save. It's already found, so that shouldn't be an issue. API keys does not exist. Oh, it has WalkTheWeb in there. Sorry. This is not that. It's not WalkTheWeb prefix. It's WordPress prefix is the one we want to use for that table. And that's the reason we're checking this stuff too. The 3D host is different, but this particular check is going to be on there. Let's refresh that and try it again. Okay, and we're going to go here, And let's see. Notice undefined. Oh, well, it'd kind of help if I did that too. Okay, undefined constant WP prefix. Oh, what did I? Okay, I typed it wrong. Let me find what it is. It is in the store. Oh, wrong site. In this file right here, we set these constants, and it is this that we're looking for. Okay, because I did WP. Okay, no problem. Functions. That's what we're looking for at this point. It's going to be the database, prefix, and WooCommerce API keys. That'll get us past it. I don't know about you, but I would be amazed if code I write works the very first time on anything I write, just because of typos and who knows what. It's more likely that we're constantly fixing things we've done. It pops something in there. Data string is still being used. Where is data string being used? Oh, current post fields. No, I'm not posting anything. Return transfer true. HTTP header, JSON, timeout, connection, timeout. Okay, let's try that. And here we go again. 3d.http 3d.net. Okay, and so you don't have to waste my time, or I don't have to waste your time typing each time. I copied it this time. And it popped an error. It saw it there quickly, and then it disappeared. I know what it is. It can't show. I don't think it can show that on the screen. I think the only error we're getting is me trying to do something with this and show it on the screen. If instead this should be a valid call. So if instead for each result as row, and instead of trying to show the whole thing here, I just want it to show me row and the value is going to be, let's see what it was. Oops, yeah, cancel that. It's going to be key found. Key found, and we'll say key found equals, and then whatever that's going to be. Let's see how that does. It was a mistake in how I was trying to show it to the screen. Not necessarily. Okay, and I copied this and then turned around and overwrote it anyway. And let's see what that does. Here we go. Copy that. Save. What are we getting? Oh, I didn't catch up fast enough. For each. Invalid argument for each. So it's not coming back that way. I already know what I'm getting back. See, that's the thing, is if I do this, then I'm already getting this back. Our problem is it doesn't want to kick that to the screen. What if I don't add the slashes? Since it's a single quote around it, I shouldn't even have to add the slashes. I should be able to just dump it to the screen, to the console log. Not sure why it didn't. It had an error. I'm not seeing it fast enough. I got to be ready for that and see if I can catch the error. For the first time that worked. Contains some. How do you get to console history? I haven't done that yet. Okay, well, I'm going to have to figure out what's causing that weird thing to do it, but it's not liking dumping that back on the screen for me. I don't know why it's clearing it. Something's clearing the console log, and I don't know why. You know, I'm just curious if I do this, am I getting something in the console log, or is it killing it? Oh, see, now I copied it. Oh wait, gotta refresh the page, otherwise we won't get the new version. CORS policy. It wasn't able to call the other server because the server doesn't allow it to call from here. Okay, well then that's going to be an issue. I gotta figure out that one. We used to be able to call it from another server. Wait a minute. I can fix that. What we have is when this gets called here, I set add connect header, find files. If I'm not mistaken, there's only two ways to connect to the header, and that's throwing that in there or connect origin. Why? Oh. Okay, I think I know what it is. When I do this, is there single quotes around the asterisk? If so, then that's where I'm running into trouble. Oh no, see, it doesn't have a single quote around it. So when I set that up from, where is it? From here. Oh, wait. I have the domain here. That's not the right one. Let's not do that one. This one, when I do that, it should have worked because it puts that in place, and all I'm doing with it is putting that value right there, which should be an asterisk. That should have worked. The header should have allowed all origins. Methods get. Let me double check that, because if it's trying to do a different method, post. There it is. That will do it. Saw something on that, and that right there is going to be the difference. So we come back here, refresh the page. I think we might have had it. And https 3d.http3d.net. Go to that one, save, and see it had a problem from the origin. You know what, I want to test something just to see if that's what's going on there. So I'm going to set the origin to allow this for the moment. Whoa, where'd I do it? Come on back. Come on back. Come on. Nobody likes blue screens. Not in Windows. That's what I thought. Come on back. Come on, remote desktop. There it is. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to, for now, just to test and see if that's where the issue we're having is. If I come in here and I allow this specifically, then I should be able to call it from that website. So we're going to find out if that gets it past this and allows us to do it, because that's a piece we're working on building the gap anyway. Oops. I'm sorry, I typed in the wrong thing. http3d.net, and we go here and we click save, and it still has an error. Oh. Well, okay. We have a security issue. 3d.http3d.net is what I'm calling, and it's coming from this server, which is www.http3d.net. That should have been allowed. Do I have them backwards? I'm calling from WordPress to the other. Then from that site, okay, it's stumping me. Guess it happens. This should be the site that this is hosted on. When it calls it there, this site should say, yeah, we're good with coming from that location, and it should work. Let's see if there's two places that it could have posted an error for me. Let's see if this one is one of them. Don't worry, that's something else I'm working on. Undefined variable I. Oh. That would do. Oh no, that was the time before that. Sorry. So that was 10:21. That was an hour ago. That's old data by now. We've already fixed that one. And the other stuff wasn't related to this. Well, there's another place I can check. And so we're going to do that. We're going to go to one of the other load balance servers. It's another place to find data, find information, and get into we have Windows, temp, and in here, all these sessions running. And PHP errors, there it is. Get avatar, that has nothing to do with what we're doing now. In fact, November 12th, that was days ago. I've already probably gotten past that. That's not it either. So it's not dropping the error here. I'm going to delete that because we want it to create a new file if there's an error. And that's not where it's happening. It's still possibly happening on a separate server. We're going to check that one too. Like I said, they're load balance servers, so we have two servers doing the for the price of one. Bump it up, bump it up. Things we do to troubleshoot stuff, huh? I'm just trying to make this piece work. Let's go through this. We have all the sessions, and then we have... I know they're kind of busy servers. This file, way too big. I'm not, well, okay. Line 72. Oh, November 13th. That has nothing to do with what I'm doing now. Okay, so neither one of those errors have anything to do with today. I'm going to keep a copy of that file, but I'm going to also remove the current file so it gives me a fresh copy if I need it. Okay, well, we're not getting any response back here. There still could be something in the curl call. I don't want to waste a lot of time with that with you. I'll have to troubleshoot that. I want to see what's causing it. Basically what's happening is the page is being called. This page actually creates itself just fine. So we're able to create the page and we're able to call it from here. So we know that this is what we should be getting back as a response. And when we do it, this isn't coming back to me at all, but I do see a CORS error, which is basically cross-script browsing error. So I need to research and see why it's still doing that. We shouldn't be having that problem, but it's a combination of two things. From one side, we're calling this page. From the other side, and this page is basically, we're setting it to allow that site to call it right now. So we've already put the connect header for that. The header should automatically allow this site to come through. Wait a minute. Does it need? I think it might need that too. That could be just the solution right there. Now that I'm walking through this whole thing in my mind. I think that's what it was requiring, is the full path. Because I used a variable before, I didn't just have it fresh in my mind. And we refresh this, https, and 3d.http3d.net. Okay. And see, CORS blocked the process. See, that's where I'm saying we're getting something over there. This is dumping out the word test. See, test came through. Why? Oh, I know why it's refreshing. Yeah, okay. Well, that's going to take a little bit more work. I got to figure out why that's doing that. We were able to dump this back to the screen afterwards, but this results thing wasn't coming back. We have connection timeout. We have, you know what? We're not sending JSON. I'm going to remark that line out. Return transfer true. Timeout, connect timeout. Then result equals this. I think that's what we're sending is what it was expecting, and the reason why it's not working. I know. I'm kind of, I'm troubleshooting. And from there, here, save that. Now see, we still have the error. Let's do this. See, right now, actually I'm more surprised. Well, I'm able to call it from here because I call it as a direct web page. I can't call it from within code because of the cross-script browsing issue. That's that shouldn't have happened because we set it manually to actually use the page that we actually called. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm going to come back to this piece because we definitely are going to need that in some other parts of code. I'm going to have to do some research, so I'm going to go ahead and do my research, and I don't think there's any reason for you to sit there and watch me just stumble around and researching this piece. But I want to let you know that I'll be back. I'll be back. Yeah. Hey, it happens to the best of us, right? So make sure at some point in time you message me and let me know what your domains are, and I'll set up sites for you. So go ahead and get a domain name, get it on there, and if you want a free site, I'll set you up. And we'll have those going and right away, and then you can start using this stuff on my server if you like. Okay, and let's see. Well, I want to wish you a good day, and I will be back. I'll be back. I'm always back. But I need to do some coding on a different site for now. I'm going to switch gears a little bit. I have a customer I have to go fix something for, and then I will be back. So we'll talk to you later on, and thank you for tuning in, and thank you new followers and friends. It's been a great day, and we're going to continue on. So I'll see you again. See you again soon.